Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are back in Snapshot 23W06A. This is a new snapshot that has released, and we're starting off once again in the Create New World screen because there has been changes to this. The first thing is you can now actually change between these three top tabs with your keyboard. So just by clicking Control, Shift, and I think the number. So I click Control Shift 2, which changes us to the world. If I click Control Shift 3, it will change us to the third, and 1 that changes us to the game tab. The next thing that is new is there is now the experiments button, which, as you can see, there is now a better way to change or turn on the experimental features for 120 and also bundles just by clicking on and off. This does still enable the data pack, so if you still go to the data pack section, as you can see, it does still enable the data pack. That nothing's changed about that. It's just a easier way to do it, so it's easier for people to understand rather than having to go to data packs and enable it through that. And the experiments button can be found in two places. The first one in the More tab, as you can see right there, and also in the Game tab. They open up the exact same screen. So now let's cover everything else within the snapshot. It seems like this snapshot is mainly focusing on 119.4, as there's very little changes to 1.20 features. So the first change is if we actually go to the creative inventory and type in paintings, as you can see, there is more than one painting. That is because every single painting variant has been added. You can see the random one, which you can place down to still get how Minecraft survival mode paintings work. Or if you are building a map or something like that and you want a certain painting, you can now come to the creative inventory, and as you can see, each of them have the name of the painting and then how big of an area they need. So as you can see, this one needs a 2x2, this one needs a 4x3, this one needs a 1x1. I think this is a good change. I wish paintings, there was a way to set the type of painting in survival mode rather than having to break paintings continuously. Maybe an item or maybe clicking on it once it's placed down could change it. But this is a step that is really good. The next change is music discs. If you actually play a music disc in them, or jukeboxes, they will now play a note block above the actual jukebox. This is a parity change with Bedrock Edition. I don't see the point in this. It's just a cool little visual. Maybe if you're building a map or a base, you could do something like this, and it's kind of a visual or something like that, so you can kind of use this as decoration or something. But jukeboxes will now play a note block particle effect above them when they are being played. They won't play it if they are empty and have no music disc in them. The next thing is if you go to accessibility settings, there's a few things that have changed inside of this. This button right here, notification display time, was meant to be changed to notification time and remove the display. That don't seem to be the case, so I don't know if that's a bug or if that's just something they've misremembered. But the changes within this snapshot is this button right here, damage tilt, the amount the camera shakes caused by being hurt. So if I was to quickly just go into survival mode, and I think the best way to show this is probably a wither rose. So if I put a wither rose like there, as you can see, when I take damage, my actual camera like tilts itself, warning me that I've taken damage. You can turn that down by this camera right here. As you can see, it's now off. So as you can see, I hear the damage sound, my hearts are going down, but my camera doesn't move, which I think this is a good change. Let's turn it to maybe 25%. So this is what it's like at 25%. As you can see, the camera tilting is not as noticeable as when it's at 100%. So if you don't like the camera being knocked, then you can change that in that accessibility setting. There's a new tag to the execute command, and that is execute summon, which you can actually use to summon certain entities, as you can see right here. So that's a new thing to the execute, which is useful in some cases. There is also a new game rule within this snapshot, and the actual game rule is called Do Vines Spread. The default of this is true, but you can change it to false, which means that vines inside of the world, if it is set to false, then these won't actually spread. So if I quickly just turn the random tick speed to 1000, as you can see, the vines are not growing. But if I quickly just change this back to true, you'll see that it should start eventually spreading around the blocks, yeah, as you can see right there. So this is a game rule to basically just stop the vines from growing out of control. But just remember, if you do set this to false, they will not grow at all. They'll only be placed where you place them or where world generation places them. Another new change inside of this snapshot, if you go to your controls and then keybinds button, and you have two buttons that are using the same key, there will now be this red bar that shows to basically say that it's being used by another key, and if you hover over it, as you can see, this key is being used for sneak, and this one says this key is being used for jump. So it now basically tells you that the key is being used by another button. There has been new game events added. When you actually get on to an entity, that should now actually set off a skulk sensor. So if I quickly just throw the skulk sensor there and get on the actual entity, I don't actually think that worked because maybe I was too far away. So getting on an entity, as you can see, should set it off, and getting off an entity will now set skulk sensors off at a frequency of getting on is 6 and getting off is 7. There's a lot right here about displaying entities. I have no clue how this works currently because I haven't had time to look into it, but it seems just by reading it there is now a way to display entities, also display text, and also blocks and items. As you can see right here, item display, block display, text display, and then there's a load of settings with inside of these. So item, you can choose how many items of dirt or anything like that. You can choose the values of if it's displayed in the third person hand, head, GUI, ground. With the text, you can actually, as you can see, there's a load of different text values you can actually do. So I don't know how this works. I don't know if it's done through commands, data packs, or what. But this has been added. So this is good once again for map makers, or if you're on a server where you want some text being displayed. This is now possible. There is also another new command called /damage. This is a command where you can basically choose to damage an entity. So let's damage this strider. So if I do /damage and then I get if the strider stops moving for a second, I can maybe get its UUID. So come here, there we go. So if I now do that, and I think the amount, as you can see, is right here. So let's damage it for 1, and the damage type, let's call it, let's damage it as cramming. So as you can see, it's applied 1 damage to the strider, and if it was to die, so I can actually do this to myself. So let's quickly just kill myself, Beld UIT, and let's do the damage as 100. So it instantly kills me. And let's do the damage type as, let's say we do it as lightning bolt. As you can see, if I quickly just go into creative mode or survival mode and I damage myself, as you can see, Beld UIT was struck by lightning. So this is a way you can now force damage on entities and also get a certain death message you want. A bug has been fixed that has been in the game for so long. If you are now wearing boots and leggings, there will no longer be Z-fighting. If you don't know what Z-fighting means, it's where two textures fight to try and be visible. But as you can see, it used to happen on the front of the boots, like right here. That's no longer happening. It is still happening on the bottom in some cases. As you can see, the textures try to fight to be visible, but it no longer happens on the front of the boots or the leggings, which is a huge change. Another bug has been fixed where if you was actually opening a hopper minecart, it would activate piglings hostile against you. As you can see, that no longer happens. Just to bring it with, obviously, opening a hopper doesn't make them angry either. So as you can see, it's not getting angry at me opening either of these containers. A few other bugs: if you place a shield inside of your offhand slot, it will now play the equipping sound. So if you actually put a shield in your offhand slot, it will now play the sound to obviously warn you, and that is if you do it this way as well. In the last snapshot, we saw the ability to change armor pieces, so you can basically do it just through your hotbar. That's the wrong button. That now plays the actual equipping sound every time you do the action. And the final thing within this snapshot that we are going to talk about is that there was a bug, meaning you couldn't actually shift click items into this slot in the anvil. As you can see, that has now been fixed. So that's everything inside this snapshot. There are a few more bug fixes related to 120 features, but they're not really that major. It's just like missing pixels on armor trims and stuff like that. And there are also a few bug fixes related to other things around the world, mainly the /ride command that was added, I think, last snapshot or a few snapshots ago. But anyway, if you did enjoy, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.